Maha, Tumaha Lom.
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, Lord, we come to you this morning and we just ask that you be with us throughout this meeting and that you give us the wisdom to understand and to move forward as Gitxsan people. And we just ask that you remember the loss of loved ones recently and those that are sick in the hospital. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, John. Before we get going, maybe we'll just do a quick round of introduction for those you may not have met or maybe you know everyone. But Brian Williams, Fouye.
Catherine Blackstock, there. Peggy Morgan, Washington.
George St. Pierre, Stuart Mulcahy.
Irish Coast.
Ted Moats, Mortgage Oversley.
George Gray, Samog, get a Maldo.
I'm a hele Oye, Kissie Gas.
Lee Martin, Land.
Keith Moat, Kathy Gage.
Moss, Hans Bayer.
Norman Moore,
Carla. John Olson, Maha.
C. Harris, one.
Wielis, Gordon Sebastian.
Who?
Bill Turner. Bill Turner.
Yoga
Morning.
So, here to have a presentation by Rick Connor from Able to Provide Initiative.
Cindy Gitxsan, Manak, really excited to be here today. This is we've had one meeting with the Git, and it was a very well received meeting. We had a meeting last night with the committee that was formed, I believe, by this group. You have 2 members on that committee too as well. And so today we're going to provide some foundation to that and give you all the background. Very informal, so ask questions. Love to provide answers. I know that there's lots of information here, so you know, if you don't get your questions answered today, then please send me an email, give me a call. And we're happy to provide the answers to the questions because this is an amazing opportunity. And I hope at the end of today's presentation that you feel the same way. In terms of what we're going to present today, it's I need to go back about 11 years ago when the hereditary chiefs of the Gitxsan created Gitxsan Development Corporation. And they created for the purpose of creating a sustainable economic development structure within the area, within the traditional territory, the Lahip. Don't want me to stop? You okay? Okay. The business that GDC has conducted in and on the Lahip over the last 10 plus years, going on 11 years now, has been primarily focused and will continue to be focused on economic development and employing members, employing people of the region in the businesses that we've developed. But we've now taken this a little step further. And one of the requests that you've had as the hereditary chiefs and the whole focus of your new governance model and what you're trying to do is take control of your future, what's going on the traditional territory, what's going on the Lahip. And part of that is, it has to be to take control of business too as well. Take control of it from a perspective that you need to be benefiting from everything that's going on the traditional territory. This is the first time at which I believe that the hereditary chiefs can participate in a significant business with a sustainable business model that will produce revenues for the benefit of everyone, all Gitxsan people. And this is something that we've been working on for about 1.5 years now. Now, some of you have seen some of the work that's been done at our site in South Hazelton. We're just in the final stages here. Hopefully by March we'll be in our new office building. The new office has taken advantage of some of the old foundational work that was there from the past Kispiox Forest Products sawmill site, and this building here is about a 10,000 square foot building. It will basically house all of the Gitxsan Development Corporation's business units there. That, along with, if you recall, there's a 3-bay garage, and we have outfitted. Actually, the students did, our career discovery students. They rebuilt all the office inside that building too as well. And then we actually torn down the old office building for the Kispiox Forest Products, that little white building there. We leveled that, and then we built a brand new 3-bay cold storage garage that we put all the tires and everything else inside there. So everything is piled up in terms of storage. So we've got a real ongoing business concern at that site now. If you come there, and what I'm going to do right at the onset here is invite each and every one of you to have a tour of the facility, and so that you know what's been going on out there, because it's right now it's a construction zone. You have to have steel toe shoes to be able to walk into the construction zone. You have to have a hard hat and a high-vis vest, all that good stuff. So we follow all those WorkSafe BC codes, but I'm happy to facilitate that at any time. So we can arrange it either as groups or whoever is interested. Give you a tour of the property. We've done that for several different groups now, and we'll continue to, because it's always good to know what's going on the property there, and it's exciting for us. So today we're going to talk about an entity called Hazelton Bioenergy Limited. It is an entity that we've created. It's in a structure called a partnership structure, so a general partner limited partnership structure. And we have partners involved in this, because what we're looking at doing is creating you go to the first slide, creating a product called torrefied pellets. Now, torrefied pellets, for those, Larry, we've had a trip over to Europe. We took a look at Cliff. We've had a trip over there as well. We've looked at pellets, primarily white pellets. We haven't looked at black pellets, and the reason why we haven't looked, thank you, Gordon. The reason why we haven't looked at black pellets in the past is because black pellets are not, that technology is brand new. It's brand new in the world today. It is not, torrefied pellets are not produced anywhere else commercially in the world at this point in time. Not in the way that we're looking at producing them, which is environmentally friendly. We don't use chemicals. There's basically almost a zero emissions on the product, and we're simply torrefying or charring woody biomass, the waste product that's available so readily on the Lehigh right now. That product, I'll pass this little cup around. Help yourself. There's certainly enough for everybody. This is the product. It's a torrefied pellet. If I could steal one, I'll just take one here. So how many of you use pellets in your homes right now for some form of heat? Quite a few. Okay. So you already know that if you ever get a drop of water on the pellet, what happens to it? It becomes just an absolute mess, doesn't it? It's a white paste, and you gotta throw it out, shovel it out, get rid of it. So the beauty of the black pellet is it's hydrophobic. So you can put the pellet in water, And that will stay there for months and months and months. Nothing will happen to it. So that is a huge, huge advantage. And the reason being is because you can store them outside. You don't care if it's raining on them. Doesn't matter. You can take them right from when it's raining on, put them inside your burner. They're good to go. Why? Because the water does not get absorbed into that pellet. And why is that so critical? Is because in the market today, there are companies out there that spend billions of dollars retrofitting their coal-fired power plants to be able to accept white pellets. Okay? Drax, the largest consumer of white pellets over in England, they have spent over $1.4 billion on retrofitting their power plants to be able to accept white pellets. So some say, okay, well, why would you switch to black pellets now since they've spent all that money already to be able to accept white pellets? Well, our market, our target market, is actually not for Europe, because we don't believe that you should take it and put it in a ship and then go all the way Panama Canal on a Panamex vessel all the way across to Europe. We can just do a short jaunt across to Asia. Japan. Japan has a real need and desire to green up and go environmentally friendly. Why? Because if you're familiar with what happened with the last tsunami, their nuclear power plant had a meltdown there, right? And that's a huge issue for them. So they're scared to death of more earthquakes and things going on. And a lot of their power plants right now are all coal-fired, which are very bad polluters. They emit greenhouse gases in crazy amounts. And so what these pellets do is that they're a replacement for coal. Where's the thing? They're a clean replacement for coal. You can switch out coal and put in these pellets. And the reason being why you can do that is because the energy content in a black pellet in comparison to a white pellet, don't worry about the actual what it means to be a gigajoule, but a white pellet's anywhere between 15 to 17 gigajoules per ton. Okay? And a black pellet in comparison is upwards of 19 plus gigajoules per ton. There's much more energy. It's a denser product in a black pellet than a white pellet. In addition to that, black pellets take up less space. So you got more energy in a smaller space. So the shipping costs are much reduced as well. They're much more heavier in a given quantity. There's 750 kilograms in a ton of black pellets, and somewhere around 630 kilograms in a ton of white pellets. And yeah, well, why does that matter? Well, because this thing right here, cost savings, is on the mind of every power producer. Every power producer likes to say, oh, we want to be green, we want to be green. But how can you be green if you're spending more money and your profitability is going down? You need to be green while making sure that your costs are controlled. And for the first time, black pellets offers that flexibility to the coal producers. There's plenty of demand out there. That's not the problem, never has been. The problem has been to commercialize a product that will be a direct replacement for coal. And that's where we came upon our partner. Our partner in Arex Energy. Arex is a Canadian company. It's a private company, small company out in Montreal. They have been in business. Arex, their parent company, Arex Industries, creates all the dust collection, and they do big installations on pulp mills and sawmills and various other industries to clean up the air, dust collection, mitigation. So they've got a real eye and a bent to environmentally friendly technologies. And they thought, well, why don't we use our technology, which is typically a cyclonic. If everybody knows what I mean by a cyclone, where you blow air in one end and it spins around, and all the heavy stuff goes down, falls, and the light stuff goes up. So it separates. And they're using that same technology, and they've done research over the last several years through research grants in Natural Resources Canada to produce a technology that they've got a patent on now for torrefaction of woody biomass and any other biomass for that matter. It's not just woody, but in our case, it's woody, is what we're looking at doing. And that process is it's a very simple process, and it's surprisingly simple because you think, well, the entire world, there's probably about 30 different technologies for torrefaction out there. And torrefaction simplified is an ancient process that was used to densify a biomass so that people could go traveling and carry the energy with them without having the weight of carrying a whole bunch of trees or logs or something else to burn. Okay? So what it is burning of a woody biomass in the absence of oxygen. And why is that so important is because there's no flame. You actually don't use up all the energy. You actually just char it. And you make it very black, and you do it quickly so that you don't consume the actual fibrous, the cellulosic fibers in there. And you basically char it, and then from there they process it into a pellet. Very simple. In the absence of oxygen, so there's no flames in here. It's not like it's a scary process. It's very simple actually. And this process considers 3 different areas here. So there's your fuel feedstock, your sawdust chips, and potentially some whole log. Where does this all come from? Comes from operations that you have around the area here already, that you're trying to get rid of things like slash piles and pulp logs, where there's the market for pulp is up and down like a yo-yo, but literally down for probably 14 out of 15 years, and then you get one little nice blip in there. But that is not a sustainable model. Watching 14-year cycles, you'd rather have a way to utilize that low-end woody biomass. Bill?
I was just wondering, where's the nearest site that makes these?
Nobody makes these in the world except for and what I'm going to show you here is the actual commercial scale plant in Bécancour, Quebec. And what I'm going to encourage all the Gitxsan hereditary chiefs actually is that we'll set up a site visit to go see the plant actually, to feel and touch it, to see the process, because it's amazing when you get to actually see something work and it's in commercial operation, and you get that belief. But
yeah, whose name is this going to be derived under? Is it going to be SNC Lavalin or Gitxsan?
Hazelton Bioenergy Limited. It's a general partnership with limited partnership shareholders. I'll get to that. Okay? So the next part here, production of approximately, we're targeting about 100,000 tons out of the plant. Consists of receiving and storage, the drying and grinding, the torrefaction process, and of course pelletizing. From there you've got your end product in storage, and we take that and we transport that both internationally and domestically. 2 different markets there. Our international market, as I mentioned, is primarily Japan, because they have a huge demand and they're very keen. We're dealing in the final decision moments right now with a number of very major Japanese companies right now. We've been on and on in discussions with them for over a year now. So that's part of the picture, is the international market. But another important part of the market is the local market. Right now, where you're getting pellets from, they're closing their bagging plant down south because it's just not profitable for them. It's not a big enough market in comparison to shipping product internationally. Okay, this mill here will have a focus on domestic consumption. Why? Because Gitxsan Energy Inc. has a real focus on bioenergy locally. It has a real focus on environmentally friendly technology developing, and if you know anything that's going on right now in both the provincial focus and on a national basis, we're focused on removing diesel off the grid. We're focused on minimizing greenhouse gas emissions, on greening up the power in the form of both electricity and heat in all these remote communities. And this gives us the edge because we now have a product that we can supply the fuel to all these places that is going to be water and climate friendly, unlike white pellets. Bill?
On site where you're planning on putting this pellet plant, as of now, how many employees do you have employed there?
We had, right now I think we only have, just for the construction or the whole?
The whole. In and out.
Yeah.
We have about,
All the way down to construction.
okay, will we have, you mean just for the construction of the plant now, or are you talking about GDC? Sorry, I'm
For the
Site prep.
For the site prep?
For the
Okay,
site prep.
we're not doing any site prep right now for the pellet plant. All the construction that you see right now is for this building right here. And it's also doing some remediation from the past, because we scrapped that entire mill. It was not only an eyesore, but it's dangerous. The planer mill is still dangerous, and we'll get to that, but we just don't have the bandwidth yet to handle the planer mill. But we did we did gut the planer mill, all the metal out of it, and sold that for scrap. We've cleaned up a lot of the other areas. You'll see that the dryers are all taken down. You'll see the power plant is gone, and that was all done through an HEO course that we ran, an extended HEO course, which you'd be very familiar with. We ran it, in fact, up to when, 2 weeks ago?
November 1st,
November 1st from, do you know the start?
July.
July through to November, and we had, I think, 9 or 11 pieces of equipment there, and they did a great job. When you go there, you'll be totally surprised at what you see, and hopefully pleasantly, because they've done a great job. It was a steep learning curve, right? Because as you know, when they put you behind this the grader or a loader or something, and they say, "Yep, go to it," and you know, here we go. But all those people that were in that HEO course, the majority of them actually have jobs already. And we found it actually hard to hold a couple of them, so they went and got jobs after the first phase was done. Quite like yourself when you went through.
How many was that?
That was there was 18 people that were 18 to 24 at the peak, I think, were employed.
Okay.
There for both construction and heavy equipment operator.
The site that you're planning to build the facility on, we all know that it was so contaminated from the last mill. Has that been cleaned up already, or?
Yeah, so the site, the contamination that you're speaking of, Cliff, is not like an oil contamination, it's leachate from where they used to store logs and chips and things like that. So we haven't disturbed the chips, because the chips have literally, they've been biologically decomposing, creating another opportunity for us. Because people in the Lower Mainland pay incredible amounts of money for biomass that is clean, and this is clean, and it's compost basically. It's very nutrient rich compost, and that's another aspect we're exploring. But again, due to bandwidth, we're gonna, that's a student job that we're looking at for next summer. Potentially bagging all that compost and biomass, and there is a lot of it on that mill site. Yes.
And the dry and stuff that were torn down, were they resold or?
No, the dryer was cinder block, and then it was very decrepit aluminum. That was the problem with the mill. When that mill was closed, it wasn't closed properly. I had an engineering firm come in because we were going to restart the power boiler, but vandals stole all the copper and cut every single wire in that entire place, raped it. The vandals also basically stole every panel and anything that had money attached to it, they stole, that they could lift.
So the mechanics, like, that was left over wasn't resold?
No, they shut when they shut that power plant down, they just simply turned it off. They didn't nitrogen purge it, they didn't anything with the whole thing inside was crumbled inside from degradation of 10 years of non-use. It's unfortunate, but that would be about a $6 million building, that one. And nobody did a thing about it. So that was super unfortunate. And it was sold for scrap, which is pennies. Just the weight of metal. And that was true for the sawmill as well. That was the second largest sawmill in BC, by the way. It had I think almost a 7 or 8 foot span on that mill. It was a big wheel. That was just, the coffee cups were still left on the table when they shut it down. And you could see the ring where the coffee was, and that's how inadequate it was, how it was shut down. And because it was privately owned and not well taken care of, unfortunately that was not an investment, it was actually a liability. We had to clean all that up. And you're right, Cliff, there was environmental things that were there. We had to take down all the transformers, whether or not there's PCBs involved, and now we had that all analyzed. There's 18 transformers or something like that. And it was a crazy amount of work. We spent a lot of money in cleaning up that site to where it is today. But I'm happy to say that it's when you see it, you'll see progress. And actually the whole neighborhood should be a little happier of what it looks like right now. And we also have designed in, if everybody just draws their attention over to the sideboard here for 1 second, you'll see this is the layout of the actual site itself. And so this is the new office building, which was the old structure. It had some of the green chain. You got the green chain, which is now covered parking, and then you've got the just the sorting piece that was at the end there. That's converted now into office building. And when you come there, you can touch and feel it, and you can see it, and you'll see exactly where we were going with this. So we managed to create this office or complex here, and there's quite a demand for decent office space, actually. I'm surprised. We've had calls from a lot of the mining companies and things that want to have a little office and that, but we do have a rental unit in there too as well that we'll use for income supplemental too as well. That can be used. But this whole area right here, we put in a new road now. That road goes straight across here. Built a new road. This whole area here will be a new forest that's going to be planted next summer by our career discovery students. So we're putting some bio on that. We built it all up. We've contoured it, made a little hill in the section, just tried to make it a little bit prettier, and that'll all be forest in there. So we're going to actually replant a forest, living forest right on the plant itself. Okay, so that right in that zone itself. We've also built a 5-kilometer walking trail around the entire area, the 100 and some odd acres. And our career discovery students down in this area here, Chicago Creek area, they built steps and a walking, Ginny, what do you call that thing? Boardwalk, that's it. There's a complicated word.
Is that following the existing trails that were there?
That was it's following the actual old rail line.
Yeah.
Real big.
I grew up in South
Yeah.
Hazelton there, and I know there was existing walking trails around that site.
Yeah, there are no trails over here. There are no trails in this area here, down here. There is some sense of trails down here, and we utilize those.
Still scooping
Yeah.
salmon there?
Good question. You know what?
Young boy,
Yeah, in Chicago Creek, and we're very from a viewing perspective, we've got the trail kind of crests on this ridge line here, and then swoops over here, and then comes back up the knoll, and back into the yard. And there's a number of different places that we've got set up there that we're going to have picnic area, other different things that we would like to bring to both our employees and the community at large. As our hope for this would be that 5-kilometer trail, we could host the 5-kilometer Run for Cancer that you have here every year. We could host that right on the property. Everybody could come here, and you'd have totally a 5-kilometer zippity-doo-dah around there. And what you'll see zippity-doo, that's like, that's not boardwalk, okay, so, there's also a pavilion here that our youth, Career Discoveries youth have built. They built a huge barbecue area, they built a great fire pit area, and we've got a field going in here that can be used for both baseball and soccer. And so this would be a great community park for them, right on the site, right adjacent to an industrial complex. But because we've got the tree barriers and things, it will provide a great setting for this type of community piece. And that'll be our companies, your companies, give back to the community. Okay, all in the vision. So this is just, we're in the planning phase here now. We're at the point where we're going to have a detailed engineering done. It's a plus, we've done a plus minus 20%, but now we're going to final investment decision. So we have to have a plus minus 5% in order to attract both investors and give them the sense and the surety that we know what we're doing and that we have a budget that we can live to and work to. Okay.
Where's the
Thanks,
old
George.
log yard?
Right there.
That, kept getting rocks in there, big boulders every year, and it kept coming up mud
Yeah.
for years.
This is like there's so much sand. The sand in here is incredible. If you're close to Vancouver, you'd get millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars for as much sand as there is in this. We just put a new underground, so we took all those power lines down. You know, you saw all those poles. We leveled all the poles, and we put in at great expense. We put in from here. There's poles that come in from BC Hydro, and then we went underground all the way, which we'll do as well coming in, so that there won't be the obtrusive power line things that you get with typical industrial sites and typical residential sites. Everything's underground on the property. We high-speed internet, the fiber optic. That's one of the benefits to the community, actually. So the residents of South Hazelton presently don't have that, but we've lobbied. We've spoken with both government, City West, TELUS, and high-speed internet is coming, and it's going to be facilitated all the way through South Hazelton.
When I first got out of university, they put me to work on the CN extracting there. Are you guys working with CN for exporting and stuff?
No.
Cause I don't wanna see some more diesel trucks running through our communities.
Yeah,
Plenty enough.
you can't put a rail spur in here anymore with CN.
before.
There was one, yeah, but they won't let you do that now. They won't let you put in a rail spur where there's not a siding with it. It's a CN, they've a safety, you know, they're sort of beyond the, there's not enough volume
What I'm
coming
saying
out of
is
here.
We're over condensed with diesel trucks, you know, they're getting tripled. We don't wanna see any more added onto it.
Yeah, unfortunately, or fortunately from a job perspective, it will be all trucked out. That'll be going both ways, so you'll have product going, you'll have fiber coming in on that truck, and then you'll have product going out on that truck. So you'll have it'll be a backhaul.
Whereabouts is the plant?
The plant is down in the west, is that north, south, the south end of the site itself. That's the proposed area, and this is not a. It's an area where they used to store the finished product. Literally, they used to just stack all the finished lumber and such right there. And as well, it's the site of where we have our helicopter facility landing area. That we did all the helicopter work with both Wildfire and with TransCanada and Spectrum. So that was all done in that same area, which we prepped. So that gives you an idea. Some of the technologies that we're using too as well, you'll note down here. This is a new technology here for wetland construction. Now, this process has no effluent, so there's no water coming off of it. All right, the only water that's consumed is for cooling the pellets, so that you can actually they stop burning. So we're just chilling it down, and then it gives off some steam. No chemicals, no effluent. So we don't have to treat any water coming out here. Why? Because there is no water coming out of here. You're gonna have the normal septic for washrooms and drinking water and that sort of thing. Obviously, that's gonna be there. But there's not a huge issue with that, yes. Robert?
Yeah, what George was talking about, the field where they store logs. I can understand what he was saying, because we're working there just about every year,
Mhm.
and it keeps sinking. So what have you guys done to stop that?
There's nothing being done up here. That hasn't, I don't think that's moved in a long time. Well, it hasn't moved for the 10 years that we've seen it. We actually, well, I can ask Bill, what, you guys ran all over that with the AGO course. What did you see?
Sand and.
Yeah, mostly,
rock, yeah,
mostly
right.
sand.
Got
Yeah.
a little deeper and it was rock in there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
another question is, you said the mill was privately owned, I thought it was run by BC.
No. No.
'Cause they're the one that built the mill for, supposedly for the natives' employment. It didn't work out like that.
I don't know that far back the history, but it's like 70 years old or something, right? The site.
I'm 70.
Pardon me?
Yeah, I'm 70.
Yeah. Yeah.
I worked there till they moved to Carnegie,
Okay.
right
Okay.
from Siglet Sawmill.
Right.
If you know, go
Siglet,
back
yeah.
in history, Siglet.
Yeah.
That's the first mill I worked on. That's
Yeah.
big, not the little zip mills they call them.
Right. Well, Kispiox Forest Products,
But that's the last one that's,
and then there was Bajit Gill, I believe was the owner, was the lady that was on record as the owner. She was the last one on record on
they
the.
were the ones that told me I was too old to work.
Okay, that was Bajit.
So I told them I could outwork you or work for you young workers, and I don't know.
Okay.
And they asked me again if I wanted to work there, and not with that kind of company.
Well, they're
No,
gone. They're gone now. We don't have to worry about them
Yeah,
anymore,
I
and
know,
we've
but I'm
cleaned
just
up
letting you know
everything
that.
there. Yeah.
We get first dibs, eh?
Yeah.
There's another thing that they used to use chemicals to spray the lumber before they shut them off.
Yeah.
Is that all clean?
You know what, there is no environmental reconciliation that's done with all the soils. The only place that we do, and we did testing in the areas that we're working in, right? So
Would that be near the mill site and the Plato?
the government did a complete assessment of the area, and the only thing that they found was the normal oil spills where the gasoline used to be and that sort of thing. So it's, yeah, nothing that's long term. Yeah. So
How about some of the quick oil changes that were happening?
yeah, quick oil changes. Yeah.
Straight into the ground.
Yeah. Well, and remember, we used to spray the roads with oil, right? We sprayed every single road in BC with oil.
Only on reserves.
No, they were done. I can assure you, they were done everywhere else too. But
Everybody else had pavement, they had dirt roads.
well, that's the worst form of oil. So you had you oiled it first, then you put the pavement on it. But so this is conceptual because we're pretty confident that the entryway is going to move down the road a little bit here as well, just to facilitate a little better access, and we'll remove it totally from the local residents, right? And that was one of the concerns that we heard, and we're happy to facilitate that sort of thing. But it's really it's giving us good access to the highway, which is right here, and it's in very proximal to the actual plant itself. So off the highway, back on the highway. Don't have to go through the residence.
Rick, is
Yes.
there any place where they find fish ponds?
No.
Because there used to be trout in Sealy Lake, now there's hardly anything.
Yeah,
So
we
they must come up somewhere else.
could be coming up this way and then back, because that turns around, right?
Because
Yeah.
Chicago, I don't know how they got Chicago. Be loaded with fish.
I don't know. All that I know is across here there is a subdivision plan there. If you look on the planning guide, there's a subdivision for like 20 or 40,000 more people. There is roads upon everything planned, and it was going to be called Little Chicago, is what we saw on a plan. So I don't know when that was. I have no clue. It's funny when you lift up the rocks, what you find underneath them. But this sort of thing here is what we're using for rainwater and to collect things like leachate that you're talking about. So we'll filter it and put it through a natural filtration process, 3-stage here, where we use natural vegetation, natural percolation. This is all the very modern and state-of-the-art ecological type water filtration here. So fantastic little additions. We don't need to do this, but we're doing it because we feel socially responsible, and this is going to give us a real neat little twist to this. It's quite a big area that we're looking at putting in there for that purpose of the rainwater treatment and whatnot.
Yeah, that's all nice. Are you gonna rebuild our historical site? Grandview Inn?
Okay. Oh yes, please go ahead.
So yes, I can.
Are you gonna have a storage area for wood, or are you just gonna truck them in and have no storage?
We'll have a storage area for wood.
What kind of wood are you looking forward to? Because maybe there's some
Afternoon
room
shift
for
Friday night.
us to be
Yeah, 100%. And that's, I'll get to that in a second, but to answer your question, yes, there will be some wood storage area. And yes, there will be plenty of opportunity for local people to participate in, and you've got some smaller licenses and things. Some of you who are doing cutting right now, market log cutting, you're probably leaving all the pulp there. You'll have a facility where you can now take the pulp and get paid for that. And provided that's all, it's all economic, it makes sense for us to buy as much as we can locally. We don't want to go far at all. That changes the economics of the business itself. So absolutely 100%, that is our focus. Stay as close to home as possible. But
Is the forest license we currently have used for the fiber?
part of it would be, but it's scheduled for, so it's not part of the allowable annual cut. So we're not, the allowable annual cut, or in any forest, there's 3 or 4 forest licenses around the area here. And then there's BC Timber Sales. BC Timber Sales is probably the most active of all operations around, and they sell their, and you see the trucks going in and through. Actually, they're up Kispiox right now, I think. The fiber that we're targeting is coming from local sawmills, so the Seatons of the world, David West across the street, Dennis Smith at Kitwanga, any of the other smaller mills. If you want to get rid of fiber, we're happy to take it. And so we haven't started those discussions yet with a whole bunch of people, but we're looking just for sawdust, wood chips, and basically useless fiber that you can't make into wood. Okay, and we're just trying to clean that up. It fits right in line with the wildfire focus, the wildfire branch focus of cleaning up these. You've got a lot of pulp decked in the woods right now. We could be just going to get decked wood right now that's just sitting there. It's going to rot over time. It's probably reasonably dry in the summer. Bring it in, we've got it there, we can use it. So there'll be lots of different subcontracts available to do that, and we're happy to entertain that for sure. Yes?
In this process, could you be able to put some word into the forestry to stop burning that leftover wood?
And that's our focus. We've already talked to Flinro in terms of the practices of burning. A little fact for you that not last year, because last year was a good year for forest fire management. We had rain. That's what you call forest fire management. The year before that was the worst year on record for BC. We emitted 1/3 of the total greenhouse gas emissions simply through the fires that were burning in BC for all of Canada. 1/3 of the emissions of GHGs were given off by BC due to forest fires. So anything we can do to help that situation out is probably a good thing. And they're listening because you know, they got no choice. They don't know what to do. I mean, you can sit here and pray for rain, but when a fire happens, you don't fight fire. You just sit there and watch it until the humidity's up and the temperature's down. You can't fight fire. It is impossible to fight fire.
Yeah, ask
So.
Australia.
Yeah, ask Australia, ask LA right now, ask California, right? People are losing their homes, so. Was there another question? I'm sorry if I missed a hand. Nope, okay. Well, let's move on here. This next here, this is a video of the actual torrefied pellet plant in Bécancour, Quebec. This is the place which we would invite you to tour and come and visit, take a look at. It's a 15,000 ton per year plant. Has one line of 2 tons an hour. Fiber intake. So we've got the fiber coming in, it's being carried up to the hammer mill and pre-drying system. What's used to dry the fuel is actually some of the biomass coming in. That the gases are off gassed, and then we burn the gas and recycle that to use to dry it. From there off to the torrefaction, which is a carbon FX. They call it, their patented trade name is carbon FX. See, the plant is very clean. This is not a typical white pellet plant application. It's a black pellet plant application. A little bit different. Here's the reactors. So hot gases, you got everything coming in here, and then the hot gases into contact with it, 3 seconds, very hot, chars it in the absence of oxygen, and you get the final product down the bottom. 3 seconds, that's all it takes. And this is the product that you get here. A black, charred, fine product. That's their CEO, Sylvain Leclerc. From here, that's your pelletizer. Pelletizer goes up. The finished pellets go inside this pellet sieving, and that's a cooling mechanism, so you can you cool it down there. That's where you use a little bit of water if there's any steam, and then from there bag it, and or it wouldn't be bagged. In our case, we would put it right directly to big silos. So it's the same as every other white pellet plant. If we wanted to make white pellets, we just turn the switch off and we don't torrefy, and we would make white pellets. If you want to make black, you flip it back on again, you make it black. Nice, thank you. Without Janine, I'd be lost. No, you know what? So here's the aerial view of Bécancour. So the area of Bécancour was, if you know the history out there, that was where the government of Canada was putting in a nuclear power station. And they basically, all the foundations, everything were poured. The buildings were being erected, and then they canceled the project. Hydro-Quebec, whatever else happened there, blah, blah, blah. I don't know the whole story. Where this whole plant is, the entire plant, is inside the swimming pool where the heavy water was going to be kept for the CANDU reactor. So the walls are like 6 feet thick. When you walk in the door and you think, holy jeez, it's secure. So it's the actual nuclear containment area for the heavy water. And that's where the plant is. You can't tell anything up top, it's just a block building. Steel clad, insulated. You can't tell there's any process even going on inside. This isn't the high noise type process. They always have bearing issues and things, but you have that in every plant. but it's not a high noise. Every pellet plant that you go in, I mean, you hear it. Obviously, it's noisy inside, but you have the walls that isolate that from outside. Okay, Clip.
Yeah, I wanted to convert to pellet, but I'm glad we had this workshop. But what's the price difference between a white and black?
On a per energy unit basis, it's identical.
The same cost.
Same cost.
Or a panel. Oh,
On a per energy unit basis. So the same you use less of them, okay, because you get more energy, and they burn more efficiently from a release of energy perspective. So your feed rate is going to be less. The white one, you'll have to feed it a little faster, okay, because there's less energy in there and it'll burn up quicker. And the black ones, you feed them slower because it takes some time to burn, giving off the same amount of energy. So on a cost per energy basis, it's identical, and on an energy basis, it's better. But the biggest thing is your hydrophobic piece, right? So that, if that was white pellet, it would be destroyed by now.
much.
Yeah, it'd be mush. It only takes a few seconds to destroy white pellets, but black pellets, they'll sit there for months.
What are our plans before we get to black pellets that we started? When do we?
Well, we have purchased some of the equipment we purchased within Gitxsan Energy is a 18-ton pellet delivery truck, pellet and wood chip delivery truck. So Darren Forsyth is responsible for that area for the Gitxsan Energy, and he can do deliveries of pellets on bulk, and we'll be using pellets actually until we get our pellet plant up and running. We're probably going to use pellets from either Skeena or Pinnacle, and we can do deliveries all over the place.
But they're white.
Yeah, they're white. They look rather brown if you're dealing with Skeenas because they've got hemlock in there and they've got an element of bark, so it looks brown. But it's a white pellet. Yeah, just looks darker. It still disintegrates in water real quick.
So have you been to the plant when it's operating to do the whole thing?
Yes. Yeah. I've been to the plant. I've been there out with them a few times to evaluate it, look at it, because the history of black pellets is really jaded somewhat because everybody and their brother thought this was so simple, and oh yeah, no problem, I can do it. There's HM3, there's Zilka, there's a whole bunch of names that have been in the black pellet business that are no longer here anymore because they couldn't commercialize it. They couldn't put it at a tonnage under a price tag, which is your first question, that was marketable. And so they've gone bankrupt and gone by the wayside with their technologies. Nobody would buy it. And for the first time, I see a technology that is simple because you're not introducing anything other than fuel. And then you're taking woody biomass, you're heating it, you're gasifying it, so you're taking the gases off some of it, okay, through the burning process, and then you're lighting that on fire and taking all the heat energy and using that to not only dry but torrefy the pellets, your end product. So to produce 100,000 tons, you need to consume about 125,000 tons because 25% of the product is going to be used as fuel. But that's the good thing about this is that we can consume waste type fiber. There's a consumption of it as for use of energy, and we don't need to consume propane or well, we don't have natural gas here, but some other fossil fuel to produce this. So it's like completely a closed loop type cycle with it. Okay. So
When are we going to Japan?
when are we going to Japan? I might be there shortly again.
We will sell it.
Yeah. Well, and you know, to see a power plant and then they're doing trials and things. We've done trials with some pretty big Japanese companies that you'd be familiar with. You know, we've got a partnership with Mitsui. Mitsui Corporation is got a lot of tentacles, a lot of very good customers, clientele. But we've also got some other customers that we've been dealing one-on-one with too as well. So we're very hopeful that we're gonna move this process along forward. The environmental side, pellets, they replace coal. They're greenhouse gas neutral because of course the wood cycle, it's a complete cycle. You replant trees, you're gonna harvest, you have harvesting going on. You may as well take the wood waste, make something out of it, but then plant another tree. And so it's a GHG neutral. No negative local impact on air quality. What you see on the secondary to this, and it's in every one of your handouts there, it's inside that little brochure. We commissioned SNC Lavalin to do environmental study and airshed modeling. That was necessary for us to obtain our environmental permit, our airshed permit. And they did the submission for us. Those were the results of the air quality assessment and the modeling. And you can see in there, in the worst case scenarios, which are if you had a house right beside the plant, we still do not exceed the Ministry of Environment guidelines, and that's under worst case conditions. So we're really confident in this. When you are, one of the questions that we had on the website, and I think we've answered most of these, which you'll find and if you look at that other little card, you'll see a website there, hazeltonbioenergy.com. You can go on there, and there's every question that we've been asked, we provided answers for. But you'll see one of the questions was, well, how about will you see a bunch of smoke and will there be smell? Well, there's a smell of fresh wood all the time when you're bringing logs in, for sure. You're going to smell that, but that was a sawmill anyway. It's an industrially zoned complex. But when you see something coming out, it'll probably be in the wintertime, it'll be steam, because we're drying the wood and the water has to go somewhere. The water vapor goes somewhere. Very low level of particulate, and we're very pleased about that, because Airex has got again, that's their main industry. Airex Industries is a air scrubbing, cleaning, environmental company. And they've imparted that technology and incorporated it into this particular plant as well. So we're really happy about that part as well for the partnership. Cliff?
I just have a problem with the name that you're currently using. That was my other question, passionate, and you say Hazelton. Yeah, it consists about 70% Gitxsan in the area here. You know, we don't use the word name Gitxsan on it instead of Hazelton. You know, that's me.
Sure. Absolutely, and I hear you. We initially we did utilize the name Gitxsan in the modeling or discussions with our client, our potential customers overseas, and the overarching issue that all of Canada has, and we saw it with the natural gas business, is that big business wants surety, number one. Big business has a real small appetite for controversy and an injection of uncertainty into their business decision making.
Well, we can change that.
You can change all you want. You go ahead. I don't have the appetite for it, and this business doesn't have the appetite for it. We are not. We are moving ahead with this particular name because it's a generic name that we can attract both investors, and we can tell the story of ownership, but we can tell the story of ownership without it being a barrier to doing business overseas. They have a real problem with that, and I'm not about to change that. And I can tell you what, nobody's going to go talk to Mitsui or Sumitomo and change their opinions. That's just the way it is. And we need to go with that. So That's why it says Hazelton Bioenergy Limited. Yes.
Well, what's so special about Hazel?
There's nothing, it's generic, that's exactly why.
Gitxsan.
It's the location that it's in South Hazelton. We were thinking South Hazelton, but Hazelton was shorter, and it was easy. HBE, nice three-letter acronym. Bill?
So that's where the main office, head office will be in
Yes,
Hazleton?
yes.
So, but it won't be down in Delta or?
No, no. This isn't, so I'm gonna get to that part very shortly here. If you wanna. Okay, I wanna get to that because I can see where there's gonna be some conversation here because this is what this is about. It's about ownership, it's about structure, it's about how we can make this real viable, and it's the reason why I'm excited about it. So I wanna get to that. Part of the focus that we have within Gitxsan Energy Inc. is the utilization of woody biomass as a fuel, primarily for the replacement of heat, of diesel, propane, and or other fossil fuels in remote communities, and we're going to replace it with our product, pellets, either black or white, doesn't matter. The devices that we have are, and some of you have seen these already, are from Frohling of Austria, the world's largest manufacturer of bioheat devices. And I've got some of these for anybody that's interested up here. This is what's called the PE1 pellet boiler, and Gitxsan Energy Inc. is a dealer for the Frohling pellet boilers. These are specifically designed to utilize pellets for the heating of your homes. This one here is the S3. This works off of logwood. And this is a boiler that is specifically designed to heat your homes, again, efficiently. Now, I know a number of you have units inside your home. We're also going to have access to stoves, pellet stoves too as well, because that's what a lot of you have already in there. So we're trying to develop our product offering with that. These are the world's #1, and they're super high tech. You don't smell smoke coming out of the stack. Cliff can attest to this, Larry can attest to this. You don't see anything coming out. They're 96% efficient. It's like you're using natural gas. Everything is consumed inside these devices. You can, right on your phone, you can turn your temperature up from, when you're coming home from Barbados, you can turn your temperature up at home in January. Oh, Bill's in already. So they're high tech, and we're gonna price them right for what we're trying to do here, and that is to facilitate the propagation of biomass heat units within the region. Now, we've been very successful already. We've got some sites that I want you to just take some note of here on a commercial basis. The Upper Skeena Recreation Center will be going in this summer. Okay, it's 300 kilowatts of units, 2 T4 150 units, and that will provide all the heat for the Upper Skeena Recreation Center. Presently, they're spending upwards of anywhere $130,000, $150,000 a year on propane. Now, that just translates into long-term unviability of the recreation center, because you guys have to pay for that somehow, right? Now it's built, you got to pay for it. Well, there's a reason why there's no kitchen in there, and there's a reason why there's a problem with the basketball net that doesn't fit in there, and there's certain problems that they had there that they're correcting. And one of the things that they've taken note of and are very cognizant of is the operating costs of that arena. And of most significance is the cost of heat, cost of propane. So what we've done is designed a system that will replace the existing propane system. And remember, this is a state-of-the-art propane system that they put in. And even with a state-of-the-art propane system, they're going to be saving between probably $60,000 to $100,000 in costs off their operating budget, because they're putting in biomass as a fuel. Locally produced biomass. Locally supported biomass. okay? And through Gitxsan Energy, we're providing all the support with the maintenance and everything of the system. Going down the list here, Gitxsan Wet'suwet'en Education Society, that has 2 T4 150s in it right now. The system is complete. In fact, Darren's over there today putting in the last connections of piping for the stacks, and then that entire high school or college will be heated by biomass, supplied locally, okay? And their costs are ridiculous over there. Their heating cost, oh my gosh, they spend a lot of money on propane. That's why they got the big bulbs, right? Get Max Food and Fuel, that's been operating, all that car wash and the gas bar there, it's on our systems. They use pellets to heat it. And all the hot water you get out of the torch there, or what do you call it, the water gun? I looked at Janine for all the education I need. So that's all heated by wood too as well. Bill?
That Darren you're mentioning is the Darren Forsyth you mentioned earlier?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you gave him the contract to supply pellets?
Darren he's the operations manager
Yep.
for Gitxsan Energy Inc. We've hired him on full time.
And he will be supplying the pellets?
Yes.
Yeah,
He'll be driving that 18-ton truck, and he can deliver it. It's got a boom arm that can fill up a bulk storage for
Okay, so
pellets.
this wasn't posted as for any local people to
Darren is local. Yes, it was posted, and we did interviews.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Darren's a Gitxsan. He's
Yeah,
yeah. That was all done.
all right.
You betcha.
So what pellets are they using then though? These,
Right now we're using Pinnacle's pellets.
Wood ones?
Yeah.
Or white ones? Or
White
whatever.
ones. White ones. Yeah.
When was that posted again?
Oh my gosh.
It was on our GDC Career Center. I think it still might be on there,
Yeah.
because remember we were posting for 2.
2. Yeah. Yeah. We only found one. Right.
So we don't make money on selling the pellets, just on providing the technology for it? Is that it?
Well, we're going to have a slight margin in the pellets once we get going our own operation. Right now, we don't make money on the pellets. We're just supplying the fuel. So we've got to get that. That's part of the business plan, is to make sure that we can produce our own fuel. Now, whether it's wood chips, wood chips can go. This will be wood chips can fuel this or pellets, either one. Wood chips can fuel this one, either one. Wood chips will be able to fuel this one here, our new office building, either one. This is pellets only. This is pellets only. Local residents will be logwood or pellets. And of course, our international buyers, we're going to ship that out. So you can see firsthand when we go here to our site. I'll show you the boiler room for that. You can see that the safety service, you'll see an actual unit in operation. Or we can go to see the GetMax gas bar. That's a sexy operation up there. It does both buildings, and it does all the hot water and stores it and blah, 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 all that thing. It's all fully automated. Cliff.
Yeah, I don't know where Barbados is. We're not as fortunate as you or Rick, to go there, but that was another reason is why I asked when are we gonna go to Japan, because all they're seeing is a bunch of white people that have no descent, and how do we advertise? You know, I'm still very a little.
Don't need to advertise.
I'm very upset, you know, what you just said, you know, that, you know, we used to get sand, it's not gonna work. You know, and you're not gonna move from it, you know, but I don't know, you know, that's kind of upsetting to me, but,
Yeah.
you know, it'd be nice, you know, if one of us go over and, you know, besides yourself, see the Japan and let them see what the good sand is.
Yeah, it's now we've had them here and they've met, and I've had open invitations for a number of chiefs have met Japanese clients. I brought them here 5 times already on the territory. They've been here, they've looked at it, they've toured, they've gone to see logging operations. I've toured them all over the place. They've met a lot of different chiefs over the period. But it's not them. It's not them specifically. It's industry. You can't change industry's perspective, Cliff. I'm sorry. That is the way it is. Talk to Petronas. Talk to any of these big companies. You're not going to change their perspective. They can make decisions in a second about. There's a reason why that the U.S. has put on over 2 million tons of production. Or they've opened, let's take natural gas. It took us the same amount of time to actually just simply okay the decision to build one natural gas pipeline and one natural gas or LNG plant, that the US built 5 plants, completed, and shipping. So when you're a big company, they go, where do I want to be? Oh, okay, there's too much uncertainty in Canada, so I'm going to go to the States. It's simple for them.
So it's the name change.
True.
Where are you getting all the fiber from?
Fiber is going to be accessed through. Oh,
You're getting it from the Gitxsan
some of it will be Gitxsan, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Some of it will be Gitxsan. Some of it will be down with Salton Way. Some of it.
all Gitxsan Lapirka. So you're saying there, why can't you use like Gitxsan?
That decision's already made, and I explained it the best I could.
Like I said, fiber is coming from Gitxsan Lapirka.
Yeah. Some of it for sure.
I had a question, Rick.
Yes.
A lot of money has been invested in this project, the pellet plant. You know, and this is the first time that we've heard of all the money that you talked about, you investing on behalf of the Gitxsan Nation. You know, a lot of money, like you said, has gone into it. This is the first time we've had information shared with us in regards to this project. As my brother said, you know, a lot of the fiber will be coming from the Gitxsan Lafayette, and the white man wants business surety with no conflicts. I mean, are we such bad people that they want something like that from us? And it's called the Gitxsan Energy Incorporated, and you know, you wonder why those Japanese people want Hazelton, when the majority of material will be coming from our territories.
Good question.
Do you have enough fiber to supply Smithers pellet plant, the Terrace pellet plant, the Gitxsan Energy Incorporated pellet plant? Is there enough material in the area to cover all 3 mills that are vying for wood and fiber to keep them going? So you know, you gotta look at things and involving the Aboriginal, the Gitxsan people more in these decisions that are being made on our behalf, so you see. We've got to find out, we've got to be informed at all times. There's something that the watersheds have asked for, and there's some that we want to see more of, information coming down from upstairs to the tables. It's important that we know this, so we know what we're investing in. We know what we're looking at in the future. It's important that this comes down to the tables of all watersheds. So, you know, a lot of money's been spent, and you know, this is the first time we've really heard about this, and we haven't seen any figures on how much money has been spent and invested in this, and where all the fiber will be coming from. The little mill in Southtown won't supply everything you want. We've got to negotiate with Gitxsan people out in the territory that are logging for their fiber. Will you be paying the trucking to get the fiber to the mill? How much will you be paying for it? As trucking now, you know, it's not from A to B, it's $160 an hour to log and truck things into town.
Mm-hmm.
You know, look at government's fees of GST, PST, and the taxes that they charge. So there's a lot of things involved here, and you know, this is good information passed down. The information that we're receiving now is very good. You know, we should be more involved and what's going on out there, how it's going about, and keep all the chiefs informed in businesses like this, 'cause that's a big investment happening.
Appreciate your comments, Ted. And this is the first time which I'm asking the chiefs if they want to participate from an investment perspective, a direct investment perspective. This is the first, this is, as you're gonna see in a second here, because it's a totally different ask. This is not, I'll just correct one thing. You said it was a Gitxsan Energy Inc. It is not. It's Hazelton Bioenergy Limited. Totally separate. General partnership, limited partnership. Brand new entity, has nothing to do with anybody else on the planet. It's all by itself. What we're doing here, what I'm doing for the hereditary chiefs is offering an opportunity to participate on a direct equity basis, and you'll see, it'll become clear shortly. Direct equity basis to set the stage for residual income, ongoing income, sustainable, green business, investing in that business. We haven't talked about the investment part yet. I'm just getting you up to speed in terms of what the opportunity is, and now let's get into that part. So I totally appreciate your comments, Ted, but let's not think that this is not a GDC and all its subsidiaries controlled opportunity. This is owned opportunity. What we're doing is bringing it to the table for potential participation. When I first started this, investigating this, I've been looking at torrefaction for probably 8, 9, 10 years. It was the first time I went to in Austria, in Latvia, in Germany, and Switzerland, and all these various places looking at these technologies. Finland. This technology has only matured in the last little while, and we've never been prepared to invest in it as a company. But when I look at this now, GDC has made the decision to invest in the technology and the opportunity, and then I put the brakes on from a equity participation piece because GDC could do the equity. We could do the equity ourselves and not offer it to the chiefs directly. But what's right, in my opinion, is that the chiefs own this directly from a limited partner perspective, and as you'll see, get the revenue directly. It's not controlled by GDC as far as where does the revenue go. It is a limited partnership dispensation of profits that goes to the limited partnership unit holders, of which I would like to make the Gitxsan hereditary chiefs one of those shareholders. Okay, so totally different than what any other business is talking about. It's not about this, that, or the other thing. It's really about the positive impact that ownership of an ongoing concern of significance is going to make in this region, and I'll show you why in a second here, if I may. Just preface it with that. But thank you, Bill.
Who is GDC?
Oh, Bill. I'm going to get on with it here. Next one here. Final investment decision. Final investment decision here. I had forecast to be Q4 of 2019. And forecast Q4 2019. We're a bit behind in that. I'm hopeful though that we'll be able to make it first thing in Q1 of 2020. That will not push out our operational schedule. Our operational schedule will be determined by the offtake agreement set by Japan. Our offtake agreement with them. They'll tell us we need 25,000 tons in 2021. And so we'll try to facilitate that. Okay? So that's kind of the schedule that we're looking at. What are the benefits of the actual plant itself? It'll have, Bill?
You called us in to ask questions and stuff like that, but you just pushed aside a question and without giving an answer.
Okay, my apologies.
That kind of
Bill asked that.
It bugs me a bit. Is all.
Sure.
Okay.
Bill asked that question. I know it's a rhetoric question because Bill, of all people, knows who GDC is. He's participated with GDC in every single negotiation that's ever happened with me. on a negotiating team as well. And so the reason why I back off on that is because that's not what this meeting is all about.
And because you're told to.
I'm offering an opportunity to the chiefs. GDC, everybody knows who GDC is and what it does. You see the trucks, you see the opportunities, you see the people being employed. And I'm taking your valuable time up in going and regressing back into a topic that we can go down rabbit holes for hours on, instead of staying on focus in terms of the opportunity. If we can't see the opportunity here, it's not a problem, okay? I'm bringing the opportunity to you to make a decision. If you decide no, that is fine. Let me be very clear. But I believe this is the best thing that I've ever seen for the hereditary chiefs from an ongoing residual business opportunity. My personal opinion. Cliff.
Thanks, Rick. It's not that we're trying to be, not being condescending. We just had a big meeting yesterday. One of the proponents is planning a project on our territory, and we mentioned GDC, and that kind of more or less changed their attitude towards us. With what you guys have developed so far, but we'd like to. What we've heard and discussed yesterday was very, very a game changer for us, especially for our house group, when we included you guys. But don't be feel that we're offended, when we ask little questions like this, because we need to know a little more of that. But we highly recommended you guys yesterday.
Thank you, and I did hear that. Thank you, I appreciate that. I am happy to answer that question. Invite me to a watershed meeting. I've been to several of them and been invited by some of the various different groups at several different meetings. I'm happy to answer those questions specifically, directly, and anything you need to know. I would love to support that. I'm always open to that. Okay, so publicly, I'll state that here. So happy to do that. And I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm trying to get this in front of you so that you stay positive on what we're talking about, because my excitement has to be infectious with you. Because if you don't see this, it's going to be real difficult for us to all move forward as a real positive group. Catherine?
There is a lot of questions and everything, but I think if Rick is allowed to go forward on the presentation, he can show how he sees the Gitxsan benefiting from it. And all those other things, questions we have will have to be answered, but in the meantime, if you could show us what you need and how we're going to benefit from it, then and what this limited partnership would look like for us.
Okay.
Because there is still GDC control, our management of it, but there's another part where you see the funds coming directly to the Gitxsan.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. So the opportunity, $25 million in gross revenues to the region. Of that, there's probably about a little better than $7 million that's going to be in direct wages coming into the region. $7 million per annum coming into this region in wages. And on top of that, there's the fuel, purchase of fuel, the subcontracts, all the different, where's the fiber coming from contracts, okay? Probably another $7 million or so there. Investment back into the community. I've sort of highlighted that already in terms of where we're headed with that. That's not the only thing, but the investment back to the community is going to reflect on you, the Gitxsan hereditary chiefs. In a second, I'll show you how that comes into play. Sustainable forestry practices. Because of the fact we have to have chain of custody, and chain of custody means that you have to know where the fiber comes from in all cases, okay? So we have to show that to our clients, because Japan will not buy any fuels if they don't have a chain of custody. So it's not like we can just go get a bunch of stuff from wherever. We have to show chain of custody, okay? In future success, and we can build this out in other areas too, and basically develop it as the fiber basket develops and it becomes more available to us readily at the plant. The job opportunities, there's about 46 direct jobs at the plant, including everything from security to the manager, the plant manager. Okay, so you've got a good mix there. You're going to have operators. All the training is going to be done. There'll be some training done in Bécancour in Quebec on the actual plant itself. We can have the operators go out there and actually learn on the process itself while they're running out there. And so it's really good training, really good immersion into the process and into the technology. And then bring them back out here, and then we start our plant up. 44 indirect jobs, and that's all the subcontractors and the local people that'll be providing fiber, doing other things, even everything from restaurant doers to for food, to support that, to supplying supplies for the actual plant itself. What's that? Sorry?
Grandview.
Grandview. Okay, so it's an opportunity for all. So it's going to be a very broad industry, because you're going to have an additional 18 to 20 people doing trucking as well for transportation. So if you've got a small trucking company right now, if you we need to help you out with buying a bin truck or something, a belly dump or whatever it is, those opportunities will be there. Okay. And it is a Gitxsan-led project. All right. Now I know the name, I know the concerns. Trust me, I've been around that a long time, trying to get through that. That was the name that was on the project to begin with, and we just got pushback, and I just got tired of getting pushed back as opposed to push forward on the thing, and so we've gone with this one. But trust me, everybody knows that it's a Gitxsan-led project. When I present in Japan, everybody knows. When we bring them over here, everybody knows. We take them to the villages. We show them, and it is really fulfilling. It's fulfilling for them. It's not these people specifically that we're dealing with. It's industry. It's bloody industry, and I can't change that. Okay, the opportunity. Here's where we get into the nuts and bolts. There'll be, of the entity, of the actual pellet plant itself, there'll be shareholders. And the entity will be controlled by what's called a general partner. Okay, the general partner will consist of a number of members, or a number of people who will be skilled in the areas of business and pellet plant operation, and that's who you would want in there to run your business. Okay? You don't want to lose sleep at night knowing that these people don't have any expertise in this. Gitxsan Development Corporation will be part of that, the operations group. We'll also have, within that, we'll have functionalities like accounting, like human resources, all the other general functionalities that are there. Those will all be Gitxsan-led opportunities within the business itself. That's the operations, and as we just went through in terms of the positions that are available. These positions were all presented, they're all laid out, they're all presented at the community group meetings that we held in both Hazelton and Kitwangat, and were very well attended. I saw some of you there actually. So they're really good. We've got great feedback from them, and super positive feedback. In fact, George, a lot of the people were asking, can we bring fiber? Can we bring fiber? And they've got whatever it is. Maybe it's a woodlot. I don't know what kind of license they have, but it'll have to be chain of custody. And that's the sort of criteria we have to put on it. Now, these shareholders are limited, what we call limited partners. This is the structure. A general partner who runs the business, and then there's the shareholders who own the business. Okay? So the owners of the business are limited partners, and in this structure of a limited partner general partnership, the limited partners have no play in the business itself. They have no say in the business. The reason why is because All the liability resides in here. The second a limited partner gets involved in the business, that limited partner now has the liability of the plant on their shoulders. You don't want that. As the hereditary chiefs, I suggest you don't want that. This is a business that's going to go on for 40, 50, 60. It can go on in perpetuity as long as they use black pellets. Okay? So you want to set it up so that it's not necessarily about you in the room right now. It's about a legacy and what you're doing for the future and how it's going to develop out. What we're going to, so Gitxsan Develop is going to be a small limited partnership unit holder because of some of the investments we've already put in, and because of the fact that I'm transferring our ownership over to you as an opportunity. Okay? We're taking it out of Gitxsan Development Corporation as a limited partner and offering it to the chiefs. Is exactly what's being done. Arex is putting $4 million in the opportunity too as well. Okay? And there's a number of other private investors that we're in conversation with right now that will be putting in money. Some of them of which are WILPs, WILP groups that have access to funds and who would like to be a private investor in the plant itself. And would like to, because the returns are solid returns on the plant, it's a good opportunity. Now we have pro forma returns right now, pro forma numbers, and everybody, one of the questions to me is, well, can we see all the numbers? And I can show you pro forma numbers, but that's not, because we're governed by the Securities Exchange. When you put a prospectus forward to potential investors, you need to be certain about your numbers. And we have a plus minus 20%, and you don't want to be making decisions on plus minus 20%. I'd rather give you the plus minus 5% once we get our engineering done, okay, which will be in a few months. So that we're gonna get that finited up.
Rick, will there, in the general partners, will there be any Gitxsan on that? I know you don't want someone with, has to wear the liability, but
yeah, and they
there?
can be there as people. They can't be there as hereditary chief or anything like that. They have to be there as people. It's a law, right? You just don't want that liability to attach the entity, so that some lawyer can come in and say, well, he was representing all the hereditary chiefs. Okay, well, you can have that argument in court, but I wouldn't want to saddle that with them. Yeah. We'll keep the liability within that group, and absolutely, that would be
someone who has got the expertise
Yep.
in business, and it could be
some asset. It doesn't have to be just particularly business. Maybe it's maybe part of this is the cultural component. That's expertise. You need that in this area, right? So that would be considered, highly considered, highly regarded skill to have. I don't have that.
Yeah.
Arex doesn't have that. We should have that.
So Arex is a general partner.
Yes, Arex will be one of the general partners too. Be a member of that general partnership. We want them there because it's their technology, quite frankly. Okay, Cliff?
Hypothetically, say we put in $2 million as part of that shareholder. What's the turnaround?
Okay. So let me get to how that works. Okay, because this is now we're getting to the meat of the issue here. So the hereditary chiefs, we're looking at. I put some ballpark numbers in here, and how did I come up with those? Is the first question. I'm sure. It's because there's a certain amount of money that the project itself is about $50 million. Already right now, we've been successful. We raised $21 million with government through Natural Resources Canada primarily, a number of other different venues. We have another $5 to $7 million that's in process, and hopefully we'll be successful with that. And that is that's a really good positive piece to going forward, obviously, because we know that we've got big interest in this project from a number of different areas, okay? But this here, that money that we're raising there is not considered equity because there's no return that has to be paid on that. That's their investment without return, okay? These monies are investment with return associated with them. And I believe somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 6 million is going to have a share ownership to the Gitxsan of somewhere around that 50% range. Okay, so that you get the lion's share of the dispensation of profits at the end of the day, the return to the limited partnership unit people. Okay. Now, and let's not focus on that for a second. Let's just focus on how the mechanism would work. So there'd be a limited partnership structure here. The Gitxsan hereditary chiefs would have that limited partnership, hold ownership to that limited partnership. The monies, when we pay out the limited partners, and let's say the cash flow was, or the profit for the year was somewhere $3 million. So if you had 50% of that, it'd be $1.5 million coming in. Now, you don't want it to be taxable, and that's the beauty of the limited partnership structure. Okay? You don't want to pay the taxes that AirX are going to have to pay on the profit, being in Quebec. So they're taxed in Quebec. Their limited partnership, the money's just transfer in an accounting line item over to AirX in Quebec, and they are responsible for paying their share of the tax in Quebec. Because this is going straight through to what I'm suggesting would be the Lipget Trust, which is a trust that was set up by you, the hereditary chiefs. There's a board of 5 people that's on that board. 2, I believe. Yes. And they appoint a chair, and it was 1 from each clan, and then appoint a chair. So they're in the process of I believe appointing a chair.
There's a chair who's also Gitxsan. So.
Okay.
There's
so
only 4.
Right. Okay. So there's only 4 on there right now. So that's something we don't get involved in that part, but that is a trust that was set up for the purposes of investing in the community. You also have a society there, the LaHip Society. So they were given some money this past year from GDC because they're our shareholder. They own, as a shareholder, Gitxsan Development Corporation, and you, the hereditary chiefs, are the owners of the Lipget Trust, in which you've appointed your appointees, 1 for each clan, and then a chair. So that money would flow through here, and it would be on a tax-free basis. These are accounting things that we let the experts take care of. And then they would be responsible for investing and or acquisitions, purchasing, doing things for the community at large. So all community members would be benefiting from this. Let me give you an example here. If you look at this just over here, I just did a rough. I was just saying there's $1 million. Say there's $1 million coming in to the Lipget Trust. Now, you as the hereditary chiefs, you can't direct the board of trustees, but you can. Oh, thank you. You can't direct the board of trustees because they are the fiduciaries. They are the people that are responsible for actually directing the cash that comes into the Lipget Trust. But you as the hereditary chiefs can, because you have your appointees, each of them are from each of the clans, and then the board chair, you can manage. Let's say you're going to set up a scholarship fund, and then you're going to set up a fund for like one-time support within the community. I just did a real simple example here, and then you're going to invest some of the remaining cash too as well. Okay. So in this simple example here, you set up a scholarship fund where you set up an administration team that reviews applicants. Post-secondary students want to go to Vancouver, they want to go to Prince George, they want to go somewhere for trades training or post-secondary training of some kind. and you can be the scholarship awardees to help them fund them through their endeavors, their educational endeavors. Could be one of the things. I'm just throwing it out there. One time, maybe the one time was to you needed a kitchen, and so you basically buy a bunch of equipment for the Upper Skinner Recreation Center, and then you employ a couple of people there to run that center. So these would be all initiatives on behalf of the hereditary chiefs, coming because you're shareholders of a business that's going to pay you residuals into a fund, a trust that can be directed to the community to do good things. And last, maybe you're investing, you're putting away 800 grand a year, so that after 5 years, let's say you got $4 million in the bank, which at a 7% return, you're making 280,000. So now you've got to actually spend some more money because you're banking more money than you're spending, instead of retaining your investment. So you can see how this could be, on a long-term, incredibly worthwhile opportunity, you taking control of the future of what's going on in business. And that's why, as GDC, we would back out of this, because returning it back to the chiefs to manage.
Well, I think for the Lipget Trust is that we need a meeting with the Lipget people to talk about
That's,
it.
yeah.
This is an example of what might
Yeah,
happen, but we don't know the details of what guides them in a trust. And
Right.
I mentioned that to you before. As far as scholarship and training and the type of jobs that are going to be available, we need to be having a plan, and we don't have much time if this is gonna happen in a year, but we have time over the years to develop our own people into the higher positions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, that part has to be part of the plan.
Yeah, and that as far as the training, that is part of the plan. Actually has been for some time. We've had students that, for instance,
But this is a project, a specific project.
Yep.
And I'm just saying, to see the specific jobs that are available, that there is a plan so that we can move our people up to the higher positions. Because I don't know if we'll be in any of the higher positions of management.
Right.
We should be.
Yeah, initially.
We should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? You won't retain anybody with experience. There's always a startup crew on any major project like this. You're not gonna leave that to chance. I won't leave that to chance. It's scary. Unless you have somebody that might have the qualifications. You'd never know. I mean, we've got Darren Forsyth. He worked for the Canadian Armed Forces for 10 years as a ship's engineer. And who's to know he wanted to come back to Hazelton. When we reached out and we did that, he reached out and said, yeah, I want to come back to Hazelton. And he had all these qualifications to do what he's doing right now. It was exciting for us because it was like, oh, anybody know Darren Forsyth? I said, well, I know his brother, but it was kind of neat the way it happened. So we've been reaching out already to this end. Janine has how many different job description sheets? Like,
I'm the office manager and I do the communications part.
but access to these sheets, we gave them out at all the community sessions where people were saying, what kind of jobs are there? And we showed them, here's a list of types of jobs, here are the qualifications you're gonna need to have and the experience you need to have. And there are a lot of people, for instance, heavy equipment mechanic, electrician, operators. You didn't need any predetermined experience for that.
You only got 10 minutes, you better get on with it. Come on.
I did. I'm here.
Okay.
This is the last. This is the last slide.
Okay.
So we're right on time. Hey, Gord is trying to catch me.
No, but this is important though, Gord.
It is.
It's very important. Training has to happen in order for us to be a part of this.
Well, you know what?
Business.
The heavy equipment operator course, the carpentry course that we give, heavy duty mechanic, there's a couple kids, youth, that are going through doing heavy equipment mechanic right now. There's what is it, the, not a machinist, but a, come on, Larry, help me on this. Millwright, see, I knew it, he's got it, bingo.
No, I'm not.
Let's go buy a lottery ticket.
I'd like to ask Janine if she's working along with the secondary schools to see that these guys are focused into what we need.
We did do job descriptions and we distributed them at the sessions up at the Upper Skeena Rec Center and at Kiwanga. People took them and asked about training, and we were like, come to us, GDC, your status, you're interested in this, you need the training, we'll help you get started. So yeah, that's what we've done. And then with Career Discoveries, we learned a couple of students wanted to go be millwrights, and we're like, come to us, we'll help you again. And
Yeah.
I think we do have one of them who has gone on to do that.
Yeah, he's in
I
right
think
now.
it also needs to be in print.
It is,
and
that's
passed
what
around.
it is. It's in print.
Newsletters say this
Yeah.
is what's going on.
So we're funding, your GDC funding these, people like, millwrights, heavy duty mechanics?
We have.
Yep.
All right, and, it's still going on?
Heavy equipment just ended 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Carpentry is going on right now.
Our funding ends for the year April 1st, I believe Kelsey said.
Yeah.
So then we go try access more money so we can continue offer training.
Yeah. And we've spent our own monies too as well. Not skills and training monies. We've invested in both the heavy equipment operator people and in the carpentry people this year. And of course, it's all our money for Career Discoveries. I say our, it's the profits of GDC being reinvested in the community.
Yeah, I have a grandson that you guys covered the tuition only, but he had to cover his own living allowance on that.
Yeah.
But he's in Prince George with a heavy duty equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy duty.
Mechanic, yeah.
What do you do with him when he finishes?
Well, that's so Cliff, it's a very good question. There's lots of jobs that will be available through this, and he knows that there's a heavy equipment mechanic job. Actually, there's a couple of them that are available in through this opportunity. So yeah, we look at everybody on an equal basis like that. You put in, there might be 2 or 3 different heavy equipment mechanics that are Gitxsan that apply. So it's on merits and again, limited number of jobs, but the same. It's a $7 million injection in wages in the community, another $7 million in fiber, and it'll do a lot of good. And I want to just get to the end here because Gord's he's got 8 minutes now on the clock. Establish a focused strategic team, which we have. We met last night at 4 o'clock till 7. We met there, and you've appointed 2 people, I believe, and then it gets appointed 2 people too as well, right?
What meeting?
Appointed to what?
Appointed to the strategic team. I forget what we called it now. There's a governance document and everything for the strategic team.
Basically the fundraising team that we appointed from the last governance meeting.
Yeah. So the question to me should be, how are we gonna, okay, so look, you told us you want $5 to $6 million from the Chiefs. Where the heck are we gonna get that money from? You know, we can't just pass the hat and that shows up. So what GDC is gonna do is we're gonna take the back seat. We'll manage the operations side of this in terms of opening up doors, setting up meetings, accessing funding groups, accessing strategically how we're gonna approach this. Because we'd like to facilitate raising of $5 to $6 million on behalf of the hereditary chiefs for an equity investment in the pellet plant. So that $5 to $6 million will bring these returns to the community, facilitated by the hereditary chiefs.
In addition to having the jobs.
In addition to the jobs, don't even think about the jobs, that's on top of all this stuff. So so we're gonna be facilitating these with the government officials and others, and we're putting together the shareholder agreement. It's being done right now. So it's a limited partnership agreement, and George Burke, Burke Dos Remedios, who we used in our dealings with TransCanada, he's actually the lawyer for the Heisla too as well. So we're in good stead there in terms of putting together some good documentation for the limited partnership. You'll be really happy with that. And that would be presented to you at some point, along with the final numbers and projections and things. So there's nothing from a out-of-pocket perspective that you have to do. What you have to do is, or I'm requesting your support, is to A, believe in the business and what we're doing, but B, that you are an entity. The hereditary chiefs are going to go and look for funds so that they can invest on an equity basis in a business operation that's going to pay residual incomes, not just today, tomorrow, the day after, but sustainably for a long, long time. Okay. Thank you, George.
Okay, I was gonna ask, in your training program, is there anybody in training for reforestation? Sounds like you're gonna need several of them.
Training for reforestation. So nobody's specifically doing silviculture or an RP bio or anything like that.
Where are you gonna get your stuff from in the future?
What do you mean?
You know, when they log off an area now, they take off all the stuff that's left behind, which is supposed to rot and, you know.
Well, 10%. 10% is the meter, but yes, okay.
So we gotta have somebody that knows how to do that so we can keep on growing these trees that you guys need in the future.
Well, we're affiliated with North Pac Forestry Group, who is probably one of the largest reforestation companies in through Brinkman.
I'd like to have some of our people in there too.
Absolutely. Anspeox, we have dealt with Anspeox for a number of years now. We've given them a lot of the contracts that we've been doing our reforestation. Of course, you know some of the work that we've done within Gitxsan Forest over the last 10 years, shaping that license up and cleaning up all the silviculture liability. It was at 14.5 million, and it ended up being down around 1.6 million, 1.8 million.
The reason why I ask is there's a logging done up in this area, and right now the roads are being washed out because there's been no activity on there after that.
Right, no maintenance or anything.
Clear cutting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sorry. Environmental Tech Program. Presently, how many people do we have?
11.
We have 11 people in the Environmental Technician Program. And 3 of which I think will be certified to a higher level because of their employment with Gitxsan Energy, Gitxsan Environmental Services. Chaz Ware, who you hopefully you know in the office here, who does a lot of work with the chiefs and with the watersheds and such, heads up our environmental services unit, and he's going to be putting together. Basically, he's got a very good go-forward plan. We're going to have better accreditation for a number of our employees and a lot more of the people that are around the area too as well. So 11 people. I didn't know the number. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you paying all their salary while we use them, or do we cover that?
We've been paying.
Because you would have using Chaz now, but it's gonna cost you 21,000.
Yeah, Chaz, you're paying for sure. I can't. I have to have him fully burdened. And when you say you're paying for them, there are programs that are funding that program. Right? You need to have the services. You need to have the services of a professional, one who's accredited, and Chaz happens to be accredited, so you have to pay for the services somewhere. So you best pay for them with a Gitxsan person rather than paying for Civicon to come in and do your or Fred Philpott or some other person who's not Gitxsan, right? I'm just saying. That's why. Oh, he's awesome. He's really good for the Gitxsan. He very much not only carries the flag, he represents the Gitxsan incredibly well in meetings and at the ESI level, which is a government level. That is well respected. I can tell you, I got lots of good feedback from that whole group. They're doing a great job. So.
What's for lunch? What's for lunch?
Ted?
I think there's, information sharing rather considered consultation. A lot of times I meet with all these different ministries and all of a sudden I get an email, we have consulted with, so to say.
Yeah.
And so this is just information sharing.
Yeah, this isn't, so hopefully, maybe I wasn't clear at the beginning. This is not anything to do with GDC. Okay, this is to do with you guys, because as I mentioned last night to the fundraising committee, they are in control. Okay, it's your initiative, it's a chief's initiative. I don't need to talk to you about anything about a pellet plant at this point in time, in terms of the operation, because you know what I'm saying? It's not relevant to try to make a decision in terms of the mechanics of whether or not pellets work, or the Japanese, or that's the markets or whatever. But it's very relevant for you to own the opportunity and know that you're not consulting, and I'm here to support you. I'm not going to supply any documents to the government saying that I consulted with anybody. It's not my duty in this case.
I like to say that because a lot of times after we meet and they
Yeah.
email and say, well, we've consulted.
Absolutely, yeah, I know how they work.
Make sure and.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I appreciate that comment, thank you.
Just to go back a little ways, say big businesses want surety and no conflict. I think the Gitxsan people also want surety and no conflict to talk about on our own behalf too, to ensure
Yeah.
things are moving forward properly and there's no conflict with investors and different
Yes.
things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good, thank you.
Is there any way we can put a stop to the forestry always informing us that they want to put part of our territory on the auction block to companies? Is there a way we can put a stop to that?
No, the best way to do it is to have a partnership with North Pac Forestry Group, who then takes care of that for you. And then BC Timber Sales works with North Pac. So North Pac jumps in front there, and they can manage it for you. Because the other ones are opportunistic. They're just here because they don't know a lot of people don't know the complications or what needs to be done, what's right, what's wrong. They just see a forest that is ripe for the cutting, and they look at the recce work, they look at the layout, and they say, oh, there's so many cubic meters of this, and I can get so much money for it. And then that's it. They don't, the duty to consult rests with the Crown. And right now, the duty to consult consists of
phone call.
That pile of the phone call, the pile of papers that you guys get, and it's it's this thick, and it has lots of maps on it. It's got lots of colors, and it claims to do this, that, and the other thing, but it doesn't do what you want it to do.
No, it doesn't.
But it's a process that I can't change.
Works for them.
It works for them. It works for the people that bought the license, and the next thing you know, bought the auction, sale, the timber sale. But I got to say that BC Timber Sales is open to those discussions. At least they have been with North Pac Forestry Group. I've heard that. I attended some of those meetings myself early on. There was some progress there, and then there's been what they do is, if they don't get their way, then the person that bought the timber sale goes directly to somebody else, and they get somebody who may or may not have authority. I don't know who the heck it is, but they say, yeah, go ahead. And it's awful, but it happens. I don't know how to stop that.
Who's the contact for North Pac?
Catherine Craig is the CEO.
Can you clarify number 2 about GDC facilitates the meetings? Like there are GDC employees who will be attending the meetings, but also representative from the fundraising committee.
Yeah, these meetings will be called by you guys. So we'll pick up the phone. We're calling on behalf of the Gitxsan Hereditary Chiefs, blah 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 blah, the group, and here's what we'd like to set it. They would like to set a meeting up with you, and we're the business arm, It's no problem. We have some of the contacts there, so we can pick up the phone and set those meetings up. And you know some of them already in terms of where we would go. And then we just facilitate it. We'd be in the room as basically experts to this, but you would conduct the meeting, and we would stand back and answer the questions from a technical or whatever other perspective we need to get to the right bureaucrat that we can work with.
And your staff would be filling out all those applications and
Yes, yeah.
stuff like that.
We'll do the paperwork that facilitates that, yes.
Yeah, my house group got an invitation to a direct meeting with the chief forester office. Is there anyone in the GDC I can rely on to sit with me when I meet?
Yeah, I would, I'm gonna refer you to, Catherine would have somebody come with you.
Catherine who?
Craig.
Never heard of her.
What's the last name again?
Catherine Craig. She was the CEO,
Craig.
president of Brinkman Forest.
Craig.
She's now the CEO of North Pack Forestry Group. You know Catherine?
Do I?
Yeah.
I know one beside you there.
Yeah, no, Catherine Craig, who's the, she's,
Okay, yeah, okay.
yeah, just twig your memory. Yeah, she would love to support you, or she'll get somebody to support you in the meeting. Maybe the head forester for North Pack too. Whether or not there's 3 or 4 different guys I can.
More flexible with Gitxsan, directly, and I'm surprised to get the letter.
Absolutely. If you go in there with North Pack, I can guarantee you're going to get you'll get what you want, and you'll understand what they're trying to do, as opposed to what happens now. We've seen a couple of these permits get issued.
I told Kelsey last week about it, and
Okay. Okay, she's away right now. She's on holidays for 2 weeks, but she'll be back.
Barbados?
Pardon me?
Barbados?
No, Peru actually.
Yeah, how can you guys afford to travel when you're still here?
You know what? It's cheaper to go to Peru than it is to come to Smithers. I'll kid you not, too. $749 return to go to Peru, and sometimes you can pay $800 to come up to Smithers.
Well, we got some money in our shareholders, lined it up.
Is Catherine willing to come and meet with us?
Oh, sure. Yes, absolutely. She would love to do that. I could set that up in a heartbeat for you. She would love to meet with the watershed group. She'd love to meet with all of you. 100%.
Because
She'll bring in Sean Temure, the chief forester. She'll bring in compliance. She can bring in the right people. Absolutely. We should set that up. I'll offer that to you right now.
Could you let her know
I can make sure.
Our meeting?
Sure. Ted.
See, the trouble
I'm sorry,
with
Ted.
these
Robert.
timber sales now is they use one name on the whole territory.
Yeah.
And when I came to ask you for help, you said the same thing. I don't see Niskanen on the map. It's on there.
Yeah.
But they're using one name, and that's not right.
he's
And
gone.
it's
See, every time they already locked it, I couldn't stop it, and that's breaking. Now there's another company. Send me a letter, said they want to lock some arms. So I went to Smithers, and they said the same thing.
right.
They says, I told them there's 5 different territories. It's a net. Yet they use one name, and that's Nukes. Nukes has his own name, but Shinish, they call it Sturt Creek, Shinish. And that's okay. They said they asked them. I told them it's got nothing to do with it. But they're still doing the same thing, one name. They said that's all they got in the map. They're not listening. So what's with this Catherine? She willing to listen?
Oh, Catherine will listen to me. She can't change any of that either, as well. That's a house. That's a chief's business.
That's the government business.
Oh, yeah, it's government. That's right. That's not me.
It's not the house.
Well, I can't do anything with names.
It's a map.
Yeah, it's a map. I can't do anything with it.
It's not just the map, it's a territory.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
that's how the map.
So
was made.
So could we submit names of people that might be advisors on the general partners?
Oh yeah, when we get there, let's wait till we actually have a project.
Till we get the 6 million?
Yeah. Let's wait till we get to where we want to be, and then we'll
And
deal with it. The
need to
details
meet
will be
with,
easy.
We need to meet with Lipget.
Yeah, which would be good. Any other questions regarding? Is it clear what we've got as an opportunity here and how we're moving forward? Okay. Can I again offer an opportunity to go on a tour of the actual yard itself? It'll have to be hard hats and stuff like that, or we can just stay in the car and just drive around if you want to. But it's kind of nice to see inside the office building too. It's pretty cool. I just think it's cool. Anyways, and what's for lunch? You have to ask.
So the tour is at 10 tomorrow?
Yeah, we've got a tour tomorrow at 10 a.m. for those who are interested. I just need to know how many would be interested so I know how many trucks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I know I've got 3 others that are coming. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we're gonna probably have 10 to 12 people. Okay, perfect. So 10 a.m. tomorrow at the site in South Hazelton, and if you do want to walk around, you have to have steel toes on. We can't, just because we're management, I can't evade the safety policies because they write me up.
It's quite an area to.
Yeah, it's a big area, so maybe we shouldn't walk. I'd like to walk you in the building. If you do have safety toes, I can take some of you inside the building. If you don't have safety toes, I can't take you in. That's just the thing. We'll supply the hard hats, the high-vis vests, but I don't have safety toes, extra safety toes.
Yeah, put mine away when I retired 9 years ago.
Oh, jeez. They're gone.
I got safety toes.
Okay, perfect. So if you want to do that, I'm happy to take you through the office too as well. Okay, no problem at all.
So to go in the office, you have to have safety toes?
No.
Yeah, go inside the new office, yes you do.
Because it's still under construction.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, you'll see about 15 guys in there right now. And they're all doing something. And they're burying the electric cable today. They're just finishing up the electric cable. I think it's, there's about 4 or 5 of them working on that right now, putting the electrical cable in. So.
Size boots you got so I can borrow them?
Yeah, I got size 10, but I need a pair to take you in there too. They rate me up just as quick as they rate you up. Okay, well thank you all very much. Very good.
I'll be there with size 11 safety tools.
Size 11.
My grandson got big feet.
Oh jeez.
What's the name of that site that you post all the trainings on?
Gitxsanbusiness.com.
Yeah, just the general site, Sadie, and then you can navigate in there to the training aspects of it. So you've got the actual S&C level and report there, and what you've also got is a little information card that'll give you just general information about the project. It actually gives you as well a website that you can go to if you've got questions or people have questions of you. Direct them towards me, I'm happy to answer, or direct them towards the website, and it's got a facility in there that the question's probably already answered. However, if it's not, and it's a new one, we'll take the question and we'll answer it and get it up on the site too as well.
Where does this thing start tomorrow?
10 a.m.
Where?
At the mill site. At the Gitxsan. Just show up right at the, you'll see that there's a new entrance there.
People on the need answers.
Oh.
On the live stream.
Oh, okay, live stream. Where are the chiefs? Okay, we've got a couple questions here. If you want to bear with me, I'll try to answer these. I guess you got to read them first. Well, you can. GDC presentation on pellet plant. Questions posed on Facebook. Were all the chiefs invited? Yes, all chiefs have been invited. To my knowledge, everybody's been invited into two groups. We've met with both East and the West, the Gitxsan and Gagani. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. I've also the Gets and the okay, and we've also done presentations on in some smaller groups too, where some of the watersheds have invited me in. I've talked about it as well, and we've done two community presentations, one in at the Upper Skeena Recreation Center and one at the Health Center in Kitwanga. What are we doing to make investments more attractive to Asian companies? Literally, we're producing a product that is in demand by the Asian companies. The black pellets, again, the world's first commercial plant will be here. That would be a tremendous opportunity to basically say, hey, we're not only open for business, but we are state-of-the-art, providing a product that is very attractive to the Asian companies that are looking for product. And our proximity to the ocean and ocean transport is very attractive, because that's a lot of money to transport product. Cliff.
Yeah, are there funds available that we can use, like everybody's worried about green environment, to transfer my wood stove into what you're saying? Is there government assistance or GDC assistance?
There's not. There are programs that are specifically focused on a province by province basis, but this province has not as yet put together a program that would help out from that perspective. I know Quebec has done something. I know that out in the East Coast, the Yukon is looking at a program there too as well. So perhaps this government will consider that at some point. What would the structure of the LLP look like? I believe we showed that on the last slide there, where the limited partnership units would be owned by a number of different entities, one of which would be the Gitxsan Hereditary Chiefs, and they would benefit from that. What percentage of the government money is taken from GDC employers like Rick Connors? Okay, I'm not answering that. Is this meeting just for members? No, obviously, since we're live streaming, it's for everybody. The target group here was the Gitxsan Hereditary Chiefs, because this is a hereditary chief focused and led investment endeavor. How do WILPs become an owner of the project, and what investment do they require? The WILPs, as I mentioned, there are a number of WILPs that have picked up the phone and called me. We've had some good in-depth conversations with a couple of them, and happy to entertain that. If the WILPs as a whole would be interested in that, just pick up the phone and give me a call. My direct line, you can pick that up off the website at any time, or through this office too as well.
Would contracts be needed, and how would we do that?
The WILPs?
Yeah.
They would be a limited partnership just like everybody else. They would sign the structure of a limited partnership is such that every limited partner has to sign off on every other limited partner. So there's one overall limited partnership document, and if a limited partner gets added on, then they amend that document, and the other limited partners have to sign on as limited partners to that new limited partner. So it's all encompassing. Everybody signs the same document. So it's one for all for one. Everybody signs the same thing. They have all the same understanding. When and how will the Performa be delivered? The Performa is in a state right now that we're finiting it up with this feed study. That's going to be by a third-party engineering group that has built several pellet plants, and we feel, well, several, probably a few tens of them. We feel very confident in their ability to deliver a refined scope to us that we can bank on. We can use that for debt financing too with any bank. It'll be a ±5% study, and hopefully that'll be done within the first couple of months within 2020. What guides the Lipget Trust? That'll have to leave to the Lipget Trust Board of Trustees members. they would be the ones that would answer that directly. Gitxsan Development Corporation does not have any fiduciary or direct responsibility for anything to do with the trust. They're totally severable, although we do provide funding up to the trust from profits derived through operations within Gitxsan Development Corporation. Hopefully that answers that. And that was the last question off there. Anything else? Bill?
Nothing too important, but when did we start live streaming?
I don't know.
It's been going on for about a year now.
A year?
About a year now, yeah. Live streaming.
Okay, yeah. I know these guys have been around with the cameras and stuff, but I didn't know we were live streaming.
It's an effort to be transparent.
That's through
Yeah.
Facebook,
No,
right?
I was just wondering when
Yeah,
we started.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's close to about a year now, yeah.
That's the only way it's live streamed.
Peggy.
Yeah.
That's through Facebook that it's live streamed.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, thank you, Rick and Janine, for the presentation. This time I'd ask Tim how to close our meeting.
Okay, let us pray. Our Father in heaven, Lord, once again we come to you and we just thank you for being amongst us and helping us look at the presentation, and it's something to think about in the future and follow up. And we just thank the presenters at this time, Lord, that they come to inform us on what they're trying to do. And we once again think of our elders that are in hospitals and those that have loved ones that have been gone recently. We just remember them in prayer, Lord, and just pray and give safe guidance to each one of us to our homes. Amen.
Amen.
If you want a information brochure on either of the two different types of appliances, just come and see me and I